And we're here for the purpose of sharing rather than showing.
These hands are made in America.
Welcome to American Masters and Champions of the Martial Arts. My name is Emil Farkas. The Oriental martial arts first came to America in the early 1900s. Since then, Americans from the East Coast to the West Coast have been intrigued by these unique fighting arts, which taught students a scientific method of combat based on balance, leverage, speed, and coordination instead of brute strength. At the end of World War II, numerous American servicemen began to study these arts in the Orient, and it was these dedicated practitioners who, upon their return to the United States, decided to make the martial arts their lifetime work. These senseis dedicated themselves to not only the physical, but the spiritual aspects of the arts. Courtesy, humility, respect, discipline, and adherence to tradition was a trademark that all American martial arts masters adhered to. According to Joe Himes, world-famous author of Zen and the Martial Arts, it was due to many of the American masters that the Oriental martial arts became so popular worldwide. Having studied with many American masters, I can only say that to see these people demonstrate their arts is a breathtaking experience, claims Joe. This exhilarating, exciting, and enlightening tape should introduce you to the people who have refined the arts and made it accessible to everyone of every age and sex. Yoshiaki Ajari. Yoshiaki Ajari is a world-renowned Wado Ryu instructor. Ajari Sensei came to the US in 1963 and pioneered this karate style in America. Gary Alexander. Gary Alexander is one of the first American karate champions who pioneered karate on the East Coast, where he opened his first dojo in 1959. A former Marine, Alexander teaches Isshin-ryu karate. George Alexander. George Alexander is a Shorin-ryu karate expert who began his training in the early 1960s while serving in the United States Marine Corps. He is a highly skilled Kabuto expert and is also a leading martial arts historian. Steve Nasty Anderson. Steve Nasty Anderson was one of the leading American karate champions during the 1980s. He was noted for his aggressive style of fighting and for his famous combination of back fist reverse punch. Steve Armstrong. Steve Armstrong is one of the pioneers of Isshin-ryu karate in the United States. He began his training in 1948 while in the Marines, and upon his return to the U.S. he opened a dojo in Tacoma, Washington in 1960. Aaron Banks. Aaron Banks has been involved in the martial arts since the early 1960s and became the leading promoter of the arts during the 1960s and 70s in the United States. His most famous event, the Oriental World of Self-Defense, was one of the first martial arts extravaganzas to be televised nationally. Christine Bannon Rodriguez. Christine Bannon Rodriguez is one of America's leading female karate champions. She began her training in '79 and by the mid-1980s had become the best-known female competitor in the nation, not only in sparring but in kata as well as in weapons. Richard Baratheon. Richard Baratheon became famous when he broke 15 1 1/4 inch concrete slabs on the That's Incredible TV show during the late 1970s. An incredible showman, Baratheon helped promote karate worldwide during his lifetime. Billy Blanks. Billy Blanks was a leading American karate champion during the mid-1970s and 80s, but became famous after founding Tai Bo, the martial arts exercise program that became a worldwide sensation. Cesar Barkowski. Cesar Barkowski is one of the leading Shotokan instructors in North America. He runs his martial arts empire from Toronto, Canada, and is also a former national Kabuto champion, specializing in the Bo. Bob Bowles. Bob Bowles was one of Robert Trias's top students, and over the years he became one of the leaders of the United States Karate Association. A top-notch instructor, Bowles continues to pass on the traditions and techniques of Shorei-ryu to his numerous followers. Mel Bruno. Mel Bruno was one of the pioneers of judo in America. He earned his black belt in 1935, and in 1951 he became supervisor of judo and combative measures for the Strategic Air Command, where he initiated a training program for SAC personnel to be taught by Japan's leading martial arts masters. Pat Burleson. Pat Burleson was one of the first American karate champions to come out of Texas. A tough competitor, he was one of the leaders of the rough and tumble brand of Texas karate so prevalent in the mid to late 1960s. Angel Cabalas. Angel Cabalas was the first Filipino eskrima master to teach his art to the general public in the United States. He opened his first academy in 1964 in Stockton, California, and was responsible for teaching many of the leading American eskrima experts. Willie Cahill. Willie Cahill became one of the leading judo instructors in the United States, coaching numerous American champions and Olympic competitors. Sid Campbell. Sid Campbell is a Shorin-ryu karate and Kabuto expert. Campbell became one of the leading instructors of traditional martial arts in Northern California and is also considered an expert on the history of Okinawan karate. Tayari Cassell. Tayari Cassell was a leading Kung Fu instructor and competitor during the mid-1970s. His flashy acrobatic style made him a favorite at tournaments, and his demonstrations helped promote Kung Fu nationally. Nick Serio. Nick Serio was a leading Kempo karate instructor in the Rhode Island area of the United States. With a large student base, he developed his own Nick Serio's Kempo style in 1974 and became one of the most popular instructors on the East Coast. Teruo Chinen. Teruo Chinen is one of America's leading Okinawan Goju-Ryu karate instructors. After becoming a permanent resident of the United States, he formed Jejundokan International, whose objective is to raise the technical levels of Goju-Ryu karate in the US and worldwide. Henry Cho. Henry Cho was one of the first Taekwondo instructors to teach this art in North America. He began to teach Taekwondo in the New York area in the late 1950s and also became one of the top tournament promoters of the early days of American karate. John Chung. John Chung became one of the leading Taekwondo competitors in the United States, and within a few years after reaching his black belt, he dominated the American karate tournament circuit for many years. George Cofield. George Cofield was one of the first Shotokan instructors in the New York City area. During the 1960s and 70s, his famous Tong Dojo produced many of the leading karate champions of the East Coast, including famous Tom LePuppet. Joe Corley. Joe Corley is one of the leading karate instructors in the South and is one of America's leading promoters. His tournament, the Battle of Atlanta, which he began in 1970, is now one of the premier American karate tournaments in the United States. Corley in the late 60s and early 70s was also a top karate competitor and champion. Robert Sugar Crossan. Robert Sugar Crossan is one of the leading jiu-jitsu experts in the United States. Although a prolific instructor, Crossan's fame came mostly from his incredibly skillful and comic demonstrations, which he also performed for years at major tournaments all over the country.
Yeah, you'll see with me, baby. Why don't you just stop it? Baby, you don't have to get so physical. All I did was just touch you. Oh, well, I told you, why don't you just stop it? Now, look, Mama, I didn't know. You want to know my name? Did I ask you your name? Did you want to know my name? What is your name? You want to know my name? Yes. You want to know my name? I asked you, what is your name? My name is Snacky.
Bob Dalgleish. Bob Dalgleish is the founder of Canadian Goju-Ryu Karate. A highly skilled martial artist, he trained with many of the leading martial artists within the Goju-Ryu system. Ray Dalkey. Ray Dalkey is considered one of the most knowledgeable Shotokan karate experts in the United States. A former leading champion, he was one of the first instructors in the U.S. to establish a fully credited university martial arts program at the University of Riverside in California. Little John Davis. Little John Davis became one of the best known martial artists on the East Coast, who was mostly noted for its incredible demos that would draw spectators to the early karate championships held in the United States. Luis Delgado. Luis Delgado was one of the leading American Goju-Ryu competitors in the United States. He was noted for his aggressive offensive fighting style, but his big fame came from his incredibly beautiful katas he performed flawlessly at some of America's top tournaments.
Oh, the greatest, Delgado. Yeah, I got Delgado. White belt, etc. Then I sent him to Frank Ruiz, you see. So you see the Tokukai patch on his back and the Urban Fist. Yeah, you know, I gave it basic training, you know, everything. And, you know, what you would call individual attention to Delgado.
Fumio Demura. Fumio Demura, former All Japan Karate champion, Demura Sensei has been teaching Shitoryu Karate in the United States since 1965. One of the world's most talented karate experts, his extraordinary demonstrations has helped popularize karate worldwide. Linda Denley. Linda Denley was rated America's top female sparring champion in karate from 1973 to 1996. This Texas-born hard-hitting fighter is a high-ranking Tang Soo Do stylist who specializes in teaching kids at her Texas Black Belt Academy. Ron Duncan. Ron Duncan was the first American martial artist to expose ninjutsu to America. A pioneer of martial arts on the East Coast, Duncan was noted for his exciting weapons demonstrations. Emil Farkas. Emil Farkas, a noted martial arts instructor, he was one of the first black belts to be involved in choreographing fight scenes for movies and television in Hollywood. Farkas is also noted for his famous best-selling book, The Martial Arts Encyclopedia, one of the most comprehensive books ever written on the martial arts.
Yeah!
Isaac Florentine. Isaac Florentine is a leading Shikoryu karate expert who is today a top Hollywood director. Besides directing films, Florentine also directs and produces instructional martial arts videos with some of the world's leading martial artists. Liu Fong. Liu Fong, a top Kung Fu Sifu, was one of the first to author English language books on Sil Lung and Choi Lei Foot Kung Fu. A former Methodist minister, he was also a leading tournament promoter in Northern California during the mid-1960s. Jean Fernet. Jean Fernet is a Goju Ryu karate expert who became known worldwide as a top kata champion and a great crowd pleaser at tournaments worldwide. A native of Montreal, Quebec, Fernet later turned his talents to stunt work and movie production. Darnell Garcia. Darnell Garcia was one of Chuck Norris's top students who went on to gain fame as a top karate competitor and semi-contact fighter during the 1970s.
But I was trying to get him right down to the end because with Roy, see, he's not a pressure fighter. When he gets to the end, he'll fall all apart.
Alan Goldberg. Alan Goldberg is a Chinese Kung Fu expert who has become famous as an instructor, promoter, and magazine publisher. Located in New York City, he is the publisher of Action Martial Arts magazine.
say, yut, ye, song, 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 say.
John Graydon. John Graydon is a top martial arts business leader who was a protege of legendary Joe Louis. In 1994, Graydon launched NAPMA, the National Association of Professional Martial Artists, one of the first professional associations specializing in the business aspect of the martial arts. Bong Soo-han. Bong Soo-han is one of the top Hapkido experts in the world. He gained fame as the choreographer of the unique fight scenes in the film Billy Jack, starring Tom Laughlin, one of Han's students.
He has instructed Uncle Sam's Green Berets as well as Tom Laughlin, the star of Billy Jack. One of the distinctions of Hapkido karate is that it is only in self-defense, as demonstrated here by Bong Soo-han and his assistant.
Stephen Hayes. Stephen Hayes became one of the most famous American ninja experts during the 1980s. A protege of Master Masaaki Hatsumi, Hayes is the founder of Toshin Do, a contemporary mind-body self-protection system based on ancient ninja martial arts principles.
Right between the eyes, down to that shin or ankle, then pushing forward from the right. This is the tricky part. If it misses, thumbs down, thumbs up, and aiming this right over there where they're going to run into the end of the pole. From there, thumb back, pull down with this part here. When I let go, I get a very strong whipping strike right from there. So I hit, I missed, I'm vulnerable over there. So this is aiming right at him. I'm concealed, I'm covered by it, catching this, holding for that moment, use my shoulder for the leverage. Just come right on over. So I think the difference with the standard, this one, bang, I'm attacking up in here this way. Now we're destabilized. I'm being shaken. Whoa, and I need to do something. And that's such a cheap shot that he's going to get me back to him to get me, and that's when I'm going to be able to then.
Joe Hess. Joe Hess was one of the top East Coast karate champions to try his hand at full contact karate. he became one of the new sport's major champions and its leading advocate.
Corner, there's a flurry of punches, and Hyman taking the attack to Joe Hess. Johnny Cool is pulling him away, and you saw the hammer fist delivered to the head of Ernest Hyman, and of course he was penalized. Ring. Hyman appears to be okay. 30 seconds remaining in the round. Oh, and down goes Hess. Hess went down, and and Hess is angry, comes out with a flurry of punches, driving Hyman in full contact match, man against woman. But right now, Ernest Hyman battling back. He's giving away 45 pounds. He's been hurt a couple of times, but he also knocked down Hess in the last round, and he still is battling back. Big Joe Hess on your left, Hyman on your right. Final round. Oh, a good left hand. Oh, and a good reverse. And here it is. There's the left jab. Now that reverse right hand, and down and out goes Ernest Hyman.
Keith Hirabayashi. Keith Hirabayashi was one of the top wushu forms and weapons competitors during the 1980s. He later turned his talents to movies and teaching. He currently runs a successful school in Southern California. Dan Inosanto. Dan Inosanto is one of the world's leading Jeet Kune Do and Arnis instructors. A protege of Bruce Lee, Inosanto was one of the first advocates of the Filipino arts in the United States. He currently travels the world teaching the arts to experts as well as novice students. Howard Jackson. Howard Jackson was a top semi-contact karate champion during the 1970s, and in 1974 he won the inaugural World Championship title at the World Professional Karate Championships, which introduced full contact karate to the United States. Don Jacob. Don Jacob is a leading jiu-jitsu expert and is noted for spectacular demonstrations. He currently resides in Trinidad, where he teaches his own style of Don Jitsu Ryu. Saxon Janjira. Saxon Janjira is a world champion Muay Thai fighter who's won over 200 fights. Residing in Texas, he teaches upcoming American Muay Thai Wally J. Wally J is one of the leading jiu-jitsu experts in the United States. He began his training in the 1930s in Hawaii, and when he relocated to Northern California, he founded a small circle jiu-jitsu concept which revolutionized the arts.
This one you want to pull it. And this push it, so it's circle action this way. Lock it. Press the top. So this in the center. Not this way. Well, I did that this way.
Glenn Keeney. Glenn Keeney was one of the earliest karate champions in the United States, who later became a leading instructor and promoter. He coached Ross Scott, who became PKA World Full Contact Karate Champion. Saul Kayawalu. Saul Kayawalu is a well-known martial arts instructor and promoter whose specialty was developing children into champion competitors. Kayawalu is also one of the foremost experts in the ancient Hawaiian martial arts of luau. Jim Kennedy. Jim Kennedy was an American karate champion during the 1960s. He was one of Robert Trias's top students. Ed Kaludas. Ed Kaludas was the first karate instructor to begin teaching his art in the New York area. A Koyukan karate expert, Kaludis was also famous for spectacular demos he'd perform at some of the earliest American karate tournaments during the 1960s. Kim Kyu-ha. Kim Kyu-ha is a leading expert in Korean Yudo, which is an offshoot of Judo. He presently teaches this unique art in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Richard Kim. Richard Kim was one of the leading martial arts experts in the United States. He ran the American and Canadian branches of Japan's famous Dai Nippon Butokukai and was the foremost martial arts historian and lecturer in the country. Tiger Kim. Tiger Kim is a leading Taekwondo expert who gained fame with the spectacular jumping demonstrations which he performed at tournaments nationally. Tak Kubota. Tak Kubota is among the leading traditional karate instructors in the United States. A founder of his own Gosakuru karate style, Kubota, who moved to Los Angeles in 1965, has trained thousands of students, among them many leading champions including Tony Tulliners and John Gelson. Roy Corbin. Roy Corbin was one of the leading American karate champions during the 1970s. A tough Texas fighter, he also became a top-notch instructor. Corbin later became a judge in his own home state of Texas.
Back in, back in, one. Stop, yeah, stop.
Johnny Lacoste. Johnny Lacoste is one of the most well-rounded escrimadores in the United States. He was noted for his skills at trapping and checking. Among his leading students was Danny Inosanto. Thomas LaPuppet. Thomas LaPuppet became one of the best-known karate champions on the East Coast during the early days of American karate.
Thomas LaPuppet on your left. Thomas LaPuppet. Fireman then. No, he wasn't retired then. He was young. Oh, see? Tom George Cofield, you see how great they are with their feet? Well, you know, Cofield was the teacher, you see, of Thomas LaPuppet.
Gene LeBell. Gene LeBell, known as Mr. Judo, was one of America's first top judo champions, winning the nationals numerous times. LeBell, who was also a top-notch wrestler, later became one of Hollywood's top stuntmen.
And he was a lawyer. And when it came out to it, their manager says, well, he's going to fight with gloves. I thought he was going to fight with a... There it comes, a right, overhand right, went underneath. The advantage I have as a judo man, a grappler, is to get him on the ground. And I bounce him off the ropes, throw him down, and try to top him. He gets on his feet, he's the favorite. So I keep him down as long as I can. Go in for a finishing hold, an arm lock. He hit me with vicious lefts and rights to the stomach. While training, I used to do 1,000 sit-ups every other day so my stomach could take the beating. When he broke my brand new black belt with his devastating punches to the stomach, and the belt cost me $2, I got mad and decided to finish it. I could hardly wait till the end of the round so I could fix my belt. As soon as the round started, my intention was throw him into the ropes, throw him on the left side of the Haragosh, thigh sweep, and land on him heavily. I said, I'm going to take your eye out, Milo. When he opened his mouth, I made my move. The match is over.
Eric Lee. Eric Lee was known as the Little King of Kata for his numerous wins at tournaments all over the country. A Kung Fu practitioner, he gained fame for his electrifying performances that consistently got him a standing ovation at tournaments everywhere. Joe Louis. Joe Louis was among the best known and toughest karate champions in the United States. He, together with Chuck Norris, dominated the American karate tournament scene in the late 1960s and early 70s. He later became a full contact world karate champion and was one of Bruce Lee's most famous students.
Joe Louis on your right, Delgado on your left. Joe Louis on your right, Joe Louis. Delgado on your left as you're watching the screen. Sidekick Louis and Norris have that fantastic sidekick. Yeah, left or right, yeah.
Li Pei-yun is a Chinese wushu expert who began his formal training at the Shaolin Temple. He moved to the United States in the 1990s and became the foremost wushu champion in this country. Ernie Lieb. Ernie Lieb was a former U.S. karate champion in the early days of American karate and became a leading instructor when he opened his first dojo in 1964 in Muskegon, Michigan, from where he continues to teach to this day. American karate competitor who became famous for his comical demonstrations. He was also a leading kata champion, mostly on the East Coast of the United States.
And we're here for the purpose of sharing rather than showing.
These hands are made in America.
Welcome to American Masters and Champions of the Martial Arts. My name is Emil Farkas. The Oriental martial arts first came to America in the early 1900s. Since then, Americans from the East Coast to the West Coast have been intrigued by these unique fighting arts, which taught students a scientific method of combat based on balance, leverage, speed, and coordination instead of brute strength. At the end of World War II, numerous American servicemen began to study these arts in the Orient, and it was these dedicated practitioners who, upon their return to the United States, decided to make the martial arts their lifetime work. These senseis dedicated themselves to not only the physical, but the spiritual aspects of the arts. Courtesy, humility, respect, discipline, and adherence to tradition was a trademark that all American martial arts masters adhered to. According to Joe Himes, world-famous author of Zen and the Martial Arts, it was due to many of the American masters that the Oriental martial arts became so popular worldwide. Having studied with many American masters, I can only say that to see these people demonstrate their arts is a breathtaking experience, claims Joe. This exhilarating, exciting, and enlightening tape should introduce you to the people who have refined the arts and made it accessible to everyone of every age and sex.